Hey everybody, welcome back to Bodging&Building. If this is your first time here, thank you for joining us and checking out what we do over at the craft table. So for this build, I wanted to go for something different, something random, something out there. So I turned my attention to the wonderful world of video games. And I didn't want to go with something that obviously fit the D&D aesthetic like Skyrim or Elder Scrolls. So I looked to Halo and I decided I was going to try and make this. It didn't go exactly the same and I did modify it to be a bit more D&D, but let's go to the table and you can see what we did. So first thing was I needed some thicker XPS foam. It's not so easy to come by where I am, and all I had was 1 inch. I wanted 2 inch for what I was doing, so I got some No More Nails out and glued 2 sheets together. Then I stuck it under all of my D&D books to give it plenty of weight to make sure that the glue would be able to hold it all together nice. I had a lot of issues with my camera this time around, so there's a few bits missing unfortunately, but hopefully we'll get through this fine. So I got a new handheld hot wire cutter and cut myself out some circles and sanded them down to make them nice and smooth. I did 2 of these, obviously one for the bottom platform and one for the floating platform at the top. So next, using the stylus type attachment, I cut out the circle for the upper platform and sanded the inside. Use some 10mm foam to make the ramps, and then cut the section away from the main circular platform where the ramps were going to connect in, which gave us this shape, which hopefully starts looking like the bottom platform of the deployable tower. Made a template, and with the offcut of the 2-stack foam piece, I put together a 4-stack to make the side, I want to say columns, not quite columns, but the side pieces for that ground floor of the tower, and then cut them to shape with the hot wire cutter. Next I used some grout to fill in the holes between the ramp and the platform itself, and used a little bit just to smooth off the edges of some of the, in inverted commas, towers to the left there. Made up a cardboard template for the battlements at the top and cut them out of the 10mm foam. I made these smaller pieces to go on the front and back of the battlement to give it some definition and detail, and also to give it some stability. Here's a handy little trick for you. If you're using the thin foam and you need it to sit on a curved edge, just get a deodorant can and just roll it around the deodorant can, same as you would with paper around a pencil to make a coil. Next up, I made some foam sandwiches by gluing my backwards together. Happily, they stand up on their own. The shape of both floors are starting to come together. Cut out some more detail pieces from cardboard and add them to the appropriate areas to give the look that you get in the original Halo tower. Just adding a few more embellishments just to give it a little more detail and to make it look a little bit more D&D. and what's more D&D than skulls? I decided my idea with this was going to be a platform that was partially magical, partially mechanical, and I wanted a symbol in the middle that was going to be like my levitation symbol that was holding up the top portion of this, and also if a character steps on it they will get levitated up to the top section. So I decided to go with a symbol from one of my favourite video games, Soul Reaver 2, and I used the air forge symbol, which is what I'm drawing on here. So here's where things started to go a bit wrong. My normal brush that I use for the black bombing had crusted and wouldn't work properly, so I got a new cheap brush out and hairs started falling off it, and I tried to pick them all off but a few remained and looked a bit crappy after the Mod Podge had dried. Quick bit of white spray for some highlights and we're good to start painting. As I said, I wanted to make this look like it was part mechanical, so I found some Warhammer guns that looked like they could be like air tanks or some kind of machinery, and some old sprues that I was going to cut down and make some piping out of, and I think this eventually looked quite good, but you be the judge. For painting I used some cheap acrylic paint. The blue I used was, I believe, called Phthalo Blue, and the purpley colour was just called Rose. This was from a set of acrylic paints I had, and they seemed to do the job quite nicely. They matched to the halo coloration quite well, so I thought they would be a good choice. Then we have the main two colours in the blue and the violet that the Halo tower usually is, and next I went in and repainted in the Soul Reaver Air Forge icon on the base. Also painted the ramp silver and gave each section of it a black outline. I just realised there was some footage missing there. That all I did with that was I cut some cardboard shapes and just laid them, so it gave that stacked pattern. You may have wondered how I was going to get the top part of this to levitate. Well, here we are. Big thick chains super glued in place. And I know this is definitely some creative license, as the original doesn't have chains, but A, it's to be a bit more D&D, and B, how the hell else am I going to get it to levitate? And the moment of truth, and it did stand up on its own. You have no idea how nervous I was to actually let go of this and see if it would stand on its own. And so there we have it. While I don't think it's my best work, partially because of the hairs from the brush getting stuck in there and causing a load of divots, partially because there's a lot of elements here I've never done before, and the paintwork isn't the best, but to me it looks like it's worn, it's been through some fights, which I think adds to the aesthetic. I'm happy with it, and while it may not be my best execution, I think it's one of my better ideas, and I'm really happy I got to have a go at something with a bit more colour instead of the very grey stuff I've done so far for the dungeon-based projects. So this really stands out on my shelf, and I'm really happy with it. So I hope you enjoyed, I hope you liked the idea, maybe picked up a tip or two. Come back and see me again, see what we get up to next time. maybe hit the like button, drop a comment below and let me know what you think. But until next time guys, happy crafting, and don't forget, the fun is the build, not necessarily the end product. Cheers guys, see you again.